We are back at Lotus. We are at a slightly different Lotus. Eagle-eyed viewers may spot, because when we started this, we were running with Ocon and Ricardo. And what you'll notice is that we are not running with Ocon and Ricardo. Those of you who joined me on Discord streams on Sunday will know that actually, based on my practice session or streams with my separate save, my Aston Martin save, there's some gotchas that can catch you out when you are starting off a game in this now. And we had accidentally fallen into some of those traps with our earlier Lotus save. So what I ended up doing is restarting the Lotus save and taking us through to a certain point. And I figured the semi-punishment I should take for that on behalf of you, chat, because I know you really wanted him originally, was let's put Piastri back in. So we have, as penance, I have taken Piastri, the restart. When we get into, after this race, I will actually just do a bit of a tutorial mini tutorial, just explaining some of the difficulties, because I quite want to snip it out and stick it on YouTube to help other people. But yeah, it's the important thing is we are now still Lotus. We actually got a bit lucky, as people on the Discord stream will have seen, and we got the Design Factory event right at the beginning of the game. We've had extra design slots that we've been using, which has really helped us in development terms. But we are up to the Chinese Grand Prix, which is, I forget what race number that is, but that is the race number we are at. So let's get some F1 setup up and let's give it a look. I hope you are all well tonight and enjoying yourselves. Hope life is treating you good, chat. It's very warm and sweaty in this house. I will actually have to dive off shortly in a second, because London Seaward's assistant manager is actually turning up to pick up the huge piles of footballs downstairs in my hallway and the new goals. This is the downside of helping run a women's football club, is you tend to occasionally end up with lots of gear at your house that needs moving around. But we are in China, so let's have a look. China is race 5. We are at race 5, and the setup we want is, to start with, is we want to try 3. We want to try an 11.5. We'll try 2.8, a minus 2.8, confuse me, and a 0.8, and that is going to be our starting plan. Other interesting things I've learned off the test save is you can actually legit blow up your engine if you're not careful, which was an interesting lesson. And the actual lesson from that is, certainly in practice, you always do want to be running light. This is something I would absolutely advise now, is you want to reduce engine wear as much as possible, and that is now far more dependent on your pace mode than it used to be. Because when you have low engine wear, the higher you're pushing your engine, the more likely it is to suddenly mechanical fault on you and explode. And when your engine explodes, that is a retirement automatically. So it is absolutely something to be aware of. Particularly if you use a strategy like I do of using worn parts for practice. If you start getting mechanical issues, you really need to dial back very quickly on what you're doing with your engine. Set that up right. 2.8, 2.8, 11.5, 3. 08, I did. Okay, cool. Very warm here too. 26 degrees is 75% humidity. Yeah, I think we're up to about 30 here in this room, right? Not in my room right now. It's my room in here, slightly cooler than that. I've had the curtains down all day. But yeah, it's days like this I really feel the lack of aircon in domestic homes in the UK. A rapid unscheduled disassembly being a retirement, who'd have thought? Well, quite. Now this is a sprint track, so we do kind of need to get this right first time out. So hopefully we get into a good range. I mean, to be honest, if we get... hoping we'll get something decent as a setup. But yeah, I hope you're all well today.
I don't see my tips.
But yeah, if you're... this is the thing I've learned. If your powertrain, your engine condition, is lurking down around the 30% range or below, and that engine starts running at red, or shows as red, you are going to have quite a high chance of blowing the damn thing up. So don't do that. Which I really like. It adds a bit more randomness to it than we used to get. It used to be that you could kind of run it down to 1% without fear of consequences. And to a certain extent you still can, but only if you're very careful about how you do it, and if the moment you start getting engine warnings, you just pull the car in. But yeah, so for our new driver lineup, we've gone with Hulkenberg, and we've got Piastri. And actually, they've done alright in their first couple of races.
How's the balance?
Let's get you in.
It's much better.
Understood.
That's an 80. I think we can get that better. Hulk, you are on 2024. You are in China. And you are on a great. You're good. We're going to try a 2. An 11. 2.95. And 0.95. We won't have enough tyres for that, so let's knock that run plan back, shall we? Oh, you beauty. Get him in and send him out for the full duration.
Yeah, copy that, mate.
That is really quite useful. I need to get some new headphones for streaming as well, because much as I love my big wireless chunky ones, they are very inconvenient in the hot weather. So I kind of need to get myself some proper, what do you call them, ESDs? I feel like I should just get some like ESDs. Like, I know they'd be wired, but I don't really have a problem with that. Because by the end of this evening, I'm going to have some very sweaty ears. I'll tell you that now.
Front tyres are on the low side.
I mean, on the plus side, the benefit of being really warm is I've been doing loads of washing. Because you can just stick it on the line outside and it dries in about 2 hours. So we've done a full round of all the bed sheets in the house. And duvet covers and everything else. Right, I've got a grate, so hopefully that's decent enough. We're going to leave them out.
Understood.
There's no point putting them in. I don't think we get the feedback in time. Given this is a sprint track. Good evening, Random Deal fan and Rope Trick. Welcome back.
Just work on your tyres.
Can't stay, not feeling well. I hope you feel better soon, Rope Trick. Hitchy by laps of life is good. I mean, it's quite hot weather to have a hitchy in lap in your lap. At least it is in London at the moment. Suspect I will still be Cecilia'd at some point.
Okay, that's the
I'm sure she'll make an on-stream appearance. She normally likes to.
Tyres
Have
are cold.
AC, yeah, don't rub it in. Don't rub it in. So decently in their confidence ranges. About as good as you're going to get for a sprint, really. Now, it's worth noting that the game does now model the new sprint setup, so you don't get an extra practices. You essentially get sprint qualifying now, then you get a sprint, then you get race qualifying, and then you get a race. So, whereas it used to be that sprints were in effect qualifying for the race, now they are essentially two entirely separate competitions. Nice. 83 isn't that great, but it's better than not 83. I would argue that's not great setup, but I mean, you do you, Nico. You also, for sprint qualifying, have fixed tyre requirements. So, on the downside, that creates you the issue of, like, can't sort of fiddle with the tyres as much for the sprint bits, but it does also limit things. So it's good. But yeah, the new sprint format is really much more interesting, I think, personally. Go. And go. Let's get our sprint on. Now, this is not going to go well for us, I think. That is a lot of traffic to try and deal with.
Currently P1.
We are currently P3.
Could
That's
be
a decent
worse, I
lap.
think.
That's a decent lap.
Might get us through. Sprint qualifying is also shorter. Might get us through, you know. We might be alright with that. We'll see. My brother has failed to update his friends on the status of the chickens, so I took some to share. Oh, good. I do like chicken photos. I grew up with chickens in the house. Well, not literally in the house, but, you know. We used to keep chickens in the garden. Because, you know, as a working class family, it's quite a useful source of eggs and, ultimately, at certain times, chicken. We are through to squint qualify. So as you can see, we're still on those medium tyres. But as we're still on the same mediums, that's why I didn't want to do an additional run. I knew we were going to need to use them twice. So the more we can keep the tyres solid, the better. So I think I'm more prone to gamble on a single run on sprint than I am on not sprint. We just get out last, because that's like the least helpful thing ever.
P6.
That's probably not going to be enough.
That's a good lap.
So you are P6 at the moment, currently P6. Last lap was good.
I could recharge on and box this lap.
Copy.
Yeah, we're not going to get out in time, so... I think what I might start doing on those sprint 2s is just waiting a bit longer and I'm skipping almost the first going out. Try and get it on the second. Oh no, we're through. Did Verstappen just go out? No, Max is through. Who went out then? Danny. Oh, Vershaw. That kind of went how you'd expect it to go. And then sprint qualifying 2 flips us onto some softs. I grew up with them in the house too, sometimes literally. We left the doors open when it's hot, and occasionally we felt to be proper watching the doors. Yeah, I mean, we kept ours in a pen. Right, come on everyone, out you come. Don't fuck with me here, everyone. Oh, you are all going to fuck with me, aren't you? No! Ooh, that's nice. That is a clean run.
Respect your delta.
I think we might do
Cool,
right off of that, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe 6th and 7th. Seventh and 8th and 9th. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Ultimately, we're top 10. And being top 10
Hello
at this
and
point
welcome
of
as
our
our
existence
Grand
is
Prix
pretty
weekend
good.
continues.
Sprint. No, I think we go on the mediums. We go on the mediums. It does mean we can push. Like, I'm not that fussed about sprints this season. Not like we're competing for championships. And ultimately, like, we just want respectable performances. It's not influencing qualifying,
Here we go.
so...
The sprint in Shanghai. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Guys, if you could, like, not fight each other. That would be cool beans.
Copy that.
Remember that bit about not fighting each other? Thank you. Is underfueling a working strategy this year? So I'm finding so far that underfueling by 1 lap and pushing early on to push down to a level where you're at least sort of 2 laps fuel down is actually quite viable. Works quite well. I don't know if the massively underfueling then running light strategy works. Thing is, when you've only got 19 laps, there's not really a lot of point underfueling. Half tempted to let Hulkenberg pass, but maybe not.
Pack is low.
Copy.
Basically, if these 2 lads finish top 10 on the sprint, I'm very happy. That will do me. Delivery. I think that's my batteries, my remote control. Let's ease him back on the tyres. Ease you back on the tyres. Stroll's having a bit of a mare. Right, we can push a bit on fuel.
No energy, bottom of the pack.
Yeah, copy.
Absolutely gutting for George Russell in real life, but to win the Grand Prix and then have that slight weight fuck up on the car so that he gets disqualifying must have been pretty annoying. It's the thing they didn't really think about with the strategy change. They weren't going to pick up as much rubber off the track, and therefore they needed to treat fuel slightly differently. Didn't. Hulk, man, why are you falling back there? Come on, boy. Get that. Come on. Give it a push, Hulk. Yeah, he's not going to make it back. First round where he's trying to disqualify for 30 years. Was it really?
Max Verstappen over the finish line
Verstappen with the
to
win.
win the sprint.
Decent
Last
finish.
check the flag.
Yeah, I'll take 7th and 10th.
P7,
On the sprint.
P7. You drove very well.
And there's Oscar Piastri, having finished this sprint in the points.
Plenty for them to think about and strategize, and certainly a good enough result for now.
We're moving on now to the all-in.
Now we have main quali. So now we're back onto our standard strategy for qualifying. Something to note is we have less medium tyres. Or less quality medium tyres. Just be aware of that when we're looking at our strategies. But yeah, let's get some quali on. Ultimately, Season 1, what we're really doing here is this is a building season. So we need to keep the car reasonably competitive.
3,
But the
2,
goal is very much to
1.
push heavily on research. I'd like to try and leapfrog us to being a top 4 team in Season 2. But we'll see. Yeah, it's alright. The 1,
Delta,
3, 2.
negative.
Hulk slower. We might need to send Hulk out again.
Delta negative at the safety car line. If you could keep your pace up on the in lap.
Yep.
See what everyone else comes in as. He might be alright here, you know. I think Piastri's alright. I think we need Hulk out again. He's looking a bit perilous down there. Gonna depend on whether he gets... Oh, come on.
That's P13.
Fuck you, Sonoda. Piastri's alright. I will give them credit. They seem to have at least fixed the Piastri has terrible crashing tendencies problem. In the restart of this, I have to say, he's crashed less than Ocon did for us. That's true. Like, he has yet to take out his own teammate. Right, I think our priority at the moment is really just genuinely getting... I mean, we've actually got 3 sets of softs. We can use a fresh set in each session. It's still going to leave us 2 sets of softs and a set of mediums. Like, essentially the sprint takes out an extra pair of mediums for us, because we used them in the sprint, but that has left us with a spare set of softs. Oh, Alonso on the corner, that's probably going to screw our time. Yeah, that's not
Delta
a great
negative.
time. Okay, Piastri should have more luck here. That's a bit better.
P5.
I think we're going to lose Hulk.
Make sure we're cooling the car.
Copy.
Taking out your teammate is Ocon's special move. Yeah, just a bit. We might lose Piastri here. I think we'll be alright though. Cool. Unlucky, Nico. Can go fresh again. Come on, everyone come out now, please. That should be a clean run. That should be a clean run. 132.2, that's good.
Run switch cool and box.
Copy.
That might be 7th. And he'll have time for another run. It's a clean run as well.
We're now P6.
Didn't improve on time. I reckon
Excellent lap.
7th, 8th. Yeah, 8th. That'll do. Not the end of the world. Right, China, here we come. Oh, that's tight. Oh, it'd be nice to have another set of mediums. I mean, we could run on the used mediums. We did only take one lap out of one of those mediums. I think that works. Just I don't like that. It's too close to the edge. At least this way we can push a bit at the beginning of the race. Go. Brats are all set. Dirt.
Well then, it's not long until we get... The excitement is building here in Shanghai. And it's lights out, and away we go.
think 9th to 12th is kind of where I see us finishing in this. We'll see. Quick climb from Alonso. Piastri kind of threatening Sonoda. Hulk struggling back there. Let's
We don't want to lose too much time.
pressure off.
Key thing is to keep
lightly.
the tyre in good shape. Keep the tyre in good shape.
Want to keep him in DRS range.
Copy.
So we need to manage more.
Yep. Copy.
Right now, pump you up.
Push.
Yeah, I don't think we've quite got the legs to keep up.
DRS enable.
Your P15.
I think they
Right,
slammed some
Magnussen.
improvements on the what's it's already in the RBs.
Car behind is Albon. 0.4.
Okay, let's race straight and
Keep
see what
looking after the
happens.
tyre.
Let's try a bit of a mellow race here. Like I'd expect Hulk to climb a bit.
You know, I've got fast mine.
Nico with the chill. 1 second, chat. Magnussen got back. Ooh, boo! Boo, Magnussen.
No energy.
Copy.
Let's run you at balance now. You can do some deploy for a bit.
Lift off end of straight.
And neutral. Going for him. He's going for him. Nicely done, Piastri.
Sweet.
Keep doing what you're doing. Currently P6. Norris ahead.
I mean, he'll fall apart now because he's about to fall out of the DRS train. We don't have the raw pace to break away from Norris, but at the same time, this is giving him some practice and keeping him in position. I do get a bit twitchy when they start doing it a lot. Yeah, we're falling back now, so that's fine. Right, we are on tyre curve, so I think I did make the smart decision on our strategy. Like, I do think it is the best approach.
We are ready for you.
Yep.
Crazy slow.
Deep breath. You're going to be okay.
Alright, Hulk, don't worry about it.
1.5.
Pretty certain 11's within your target, so...
We're ready in pit lane.
Yep.
I think we're fine. Again, top 10 finishes would be, like, amazing. But, I mean, we are still also running on original parts, so... Do we want to go and used one first? Yeah.
Box this lap.
Yeah, happy to box.
Oh dear, that's not a good stop.
Oh, what happened, Gasly?
Oh, wait.
Took too many pairs of tyres off there, lads. Oh, we rejoined in 10th and 11th, that's fine. Let's see what strategies others are doing. A lot of hards for the middle segment. They'll probably go hard soft. We'll go hard mediums. Might cost us at the end. Guess we'll see. Oh.
And if we watch Magnussen, nothing wrong so far. Very heavy on the brakes, but that's just the risk you take. The later you leave it. We've got Ricciardo here in a spot of bother. And we're watching Daniel Ricciardo. Pushing a bit too hard at this point. And the impact on the car,
bonk.
It's quite clear. And thankfully,
Whee!
after that, it seems
It's
the
just
drivers
disappearing
are
off
okay.
into the distance in the background. That's a proper Dodgems move from Ricciardo. Stroll's still going. Like he's not stopped sliding yet. Maggers is loving that running wide. Bunch out in front running on soft. Alonso on better mediums. Apparently Ricciardo turned friction off in that crash. Yeah, friction was disabled for that crash. Piastri's out another lap. Hulk comes in shortly. You've got to assume everyone else is switching onto mediums now. Like anyone who's pitting now is going onto mediums. And anyone staying out is going for softs.
And down in the pits, oh, that's a slow one.
What just happened there?
Look, lads, if you keep taking that many tyres out to the pit stop, you're going to have issues. Like, you don't need to bring every single pair of tyres out to the pit stop with you. That's what's causing you so much grief. You might need to run him a bit light.
Oh no, that's a slow pit stop there.
Pack is low.
Copy.
Run you down to 0.4. Be fine now. You'll be fine now. Amateur hour in the pit stop, actually. Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, 0.2. I think we'll be alright. I'm happy with these positions. We don't need to push. We don't need to risk anything. We'll just take them. Just wondering how the Schrodinger's tyre type works for FII regs using different compounds. Yeah. Russell took Hulk, but Hulk should cling on for 10th. 10th is fine. Piastri's not going to catch Hamilton. Alonso's not going to catch him. Yeah, we're all good with this. Bring it home, lads. Bring it home. That's points. Points wins prizes.
Temperature's okay.
Yeah.
This is
See you later, Random
lap.
Deal Fan. Thanks for popping in. Science gets the win. Go Science.
That's the checkered flag. Your P10.
7th and 10th. Well, I'll take that any day.
That's Oscar Piastri after what was a very exciting Grand Prix.
So this is the important thing, and I'll talk about it a bit after the next race. But you'll notice we're earning a lot more money now whenever after we finish a race, even on low bonus targets. Good old Pat. Well done, Pat. So that is a production-ready chassis. That is a C3. As I say, we've got the design event. We're not taking those 2 slots now because the design event will be ending shortly. So this lot here is going to be our next set of stuff. Does mean we can start building some chassis though. Do it them. In the meantime, give me another front wing, and apparently we need one on there too, so that's cool. Suspension, like that. What are you missing? Some side pods. Good stuff. Yeah, some race data. We now have an underfloor design and a suspension design. Parts manufacture. So, car parts development first. So we do want to stack up a new thing. That is part 3s for everything. So we can actually switch to research in April. Am I going to have to set up like a consistency command? Hang on. There you go, chat. Congrats. You now have a consistency command. So yeah, we can now switch already to research, which is wonderful. Well, we don't have any hours remaining, so we'll wait till that kicks in before we do it. So 5 days. of April, basically. What it does mean is we've got parts we can make. I think as we got both our suspensions installed, I think let's get 2 suspensions made. Was that underfloor was the other thing we finished? Look at them. Someone in Discord I'm in used to work at a high HPC center that rented time to F1 stables. I bet that was interesting. We use a lot of it, I'd have thought. Staff survey. Everyone's unhappy. Cool, cool. Good to know. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. Appreciate it. There we go, so our design center improvement has ended. We timed that well. ATR starts today, chat. Car parts development. Research, baby. All 33 day jobs. Now, I think at this stage we just do general on everything. Oh. Low on cash, but fine, we're in range. Yeah, alright, Pat. Give over. Piastri's picking up some stats. Damn, Piastri! 3 points on accuracy. Bunch on braking. I was tempting to see actually if we can move him now to overtaking. So at the moment we've got him focused on that. Yeah, I mean now he's actually... Now what I wish it wouldn't do is show the exaggerated stats. Because that's not his baseline stats. That's his stats with his mood added in. Isn't entirely accurate. And like, from a development focus, I want to know what his baselines are, not his boosted. I think we're going to flick him to race strategy. Lurking around in 4th. Don't think we'll hold off Mercedes for that. Nice to finish 5th though. Affiliate development. We did sign Abby Pulling. She is statting up. That's good. I think next season we might give her some practice minutes. Training. Yeah, we really need to focus on fatigue reduction. still like that a bit lower. Go rest and rest. You have a very good sporting director. Like, it's not bad. I wonder if we could get a better one. Probably worth us scouting some sporting directors. Who are the best sporting directors in the business? That would be Jonathan Wheatley over at Red Bull. He is open to negotiation. Maybe we want Diego. 48, so he's got a higher cap to him. I mean, we have the 5th best guy in the game. I don't know. Race engineers might be a better place to focus. Or even car development. Yeah, he's young, which really is in his favor. I'd love to steal I feel if we could steal Enrico or Pierre, it'd be amazing. Even James Allison would be a significant upgrade. It's going to depend on how much money we end the season with. What have we finished? We do have a chassis 3 now. Got a underfloor 3, and we got a suspension 3. Okay, they're going to go on Alonso's car after this. Alonso on Piastri's car after this race, because his underfloor's close to failing and his chassis is close to failing anyway. So we might as well get the last race out of those. So this is what I was talking about why you want to make sure that you've got better balance of your sponsorships, because you'll now see that actually race rewards in this game and race targets are different to race targets in the last game. So in the last game, you'd have a lot more options here. You'd be able to set individual targets for qualifying, for overall race performance, for streaks over multiple races. This game extrapolates that back and really just says, okay, tell me where you're going to finish in the race, like make some decisions. What that does mean is you lose the flexibility to kind of get points or get money for some elements of your targets and not for others. It's a lot more winner takes all. And that means that you do want to make sure you're balancing your sponsorships so that you do have the ability to get a reasonable amount of money, even on your low end selections at the beginning of the season. So we're actually going to go for the mid one on this driver here, for example. But actually, based on Nico's performance in the last race in this save, I'm actually going to put him down to 13th. Now, because we've got good race target bonuses set based on our sponsorship packages, this means that even in Season 1, we're going to be able to make about 800 grand a race. And that soon adds up when you've got 24 races over the course of the season. So it's a thing that really, really can catch people out if they're used to paying 23 or 22 and they come to 24, is they expect to have more ability to make money in a granular way on a race weekend than you do get in this game. So that just means that you need to be much cleverer about setting up your initial sponsorship package and not get lured in by the benefits of lots of cash up front, because otherwise you're just going to be reliant on your every 6-week engagement money. You won't have race income, and race income is critical here. So this is why it's worth just making sure you've got some race targets in there, even if you're not planning on really going to town on them, because you just need to know that even on your lowest tier of target, you're going to make some income. Does that make sense, chat? Trying to explain almost ahead of time what I'm doing here, because actually, in fact, if I click back, I can show you what I mean by the other bit. And I will admit I was doing that in... Oh, I can't show you. I'll show you after this race. That was slightly designed so I can cut it out and splice it with some other bits. But we're going to go for 9th for Piastri. I'm going to go for 13th for Hulkenberg. You think you like the changes? I kind of like it. I sort of wish you had race targets and qualifying targets. I think that would be the benefit of both. I think double this up. Or have a sponsorship package that allows you to set the two separately. Like, maybe you don't do it for everything, but if you take a certain sponsorship package, you could set both race and qualifying. But yeah, they absolutely made it harder to micromanage income, and that really does affect how you play the game. Like, it's one of the biggest things I've seen streamers, other streamers I've been watching, Shen fell foul of this the other day, is that you're not making money off of races if you haven't set up your stuff well enough, because you've got less ability to influence it. You get 2 drivers crash out, and you've now made no money off your racing.
Once again, we touch down in Miami as F1 returns to the Magic City. We're in the state of year-round summer. The streets of Miami Gardens will come alive with the...
Right, so what are we looking at? Car parts. So yeah, his engine's now 38, so that's now a practice engine. That stays in. That gearbox is pretty much a practice gearbox at this point. Assume it's the same here. Yeah, they're basically practice parts now. Run plans, let's sort those. Have you made it deep into the season yet to see how technical faults accumulate, if they do? So I've made it as far as the summer break, so August, in my Aston Martin save. One thing I'm noticing is that the AI suffers a lot more from mechanical faults than you do as a human, if you know what you're doing. Because the AI runs parts longer. So for example, I've already designated, my general approach to playing means that I've already designated these as practice parts now. And the risk of a mechanical failure increases the worse the condition of the part. So given that the AI will actually often run parts longer, it kind of really highlights that. Also, because it will now show you when someone's running on a yellow part, there's an element of the AI is showing its arse more than it was in other games. So in other games, or in previous games, the AI might well have been running on used parts, but you wouldn't have known it necessarily. You could infer it, but you wouldn't have explicitly known it. Now you explicitly know it because it's giving you that yellow box to warn. So, like, I've seen some people complain and say, like, oh, they've changed a lot of the way that works, and like the AI is worse now. No, the AI has always been doing this. It's just you're getting more visual feedback now to let you know that the AI is doing this. And maybe that does mean they'll need to, if they're doing another one next year, they will need to look at that. But I mean, we'll see if they do another one next year first. Right, car setups. 7.5, 13.5, 3.7, 5.35. But now my engine is into shitty mode. I'm absolutely running it with less stress on it. And the settings for this are 7.5, 15.5, 0.7, 5, 0.35. Save that. There we go.
Okay, that's green
I
light.
think this is also a sprint. So I think you get 2 sprints back to back. I think you get China and Miami 2 sprints back to back, I think. One thing I think is underrated is how they've kept the race design pretty much the same. The race management skills carried over from 23. Yeah, I think they do. You do need to modify your strategy and skills slightly, but not hugely. Essentially, if you were good at the last game, you're going to be decent at this game. Right, we're going to run conserve, because you notice how the engine's already running in the red. I want to take the pressure off the engine. Because if you're now, as I'm doing here, running on a used engine, you just want to be a bit less harsh on it. Because otherwise what will happen is that you're increasing the likelihood of both these drivers at the moment developing a mechanical fault. If they develop a mechanical fault, that fault is not going to go away. It's a baseline fault. It might get more serious. It might get terrible. But it's never going to go away.
Not bad.
And it's never going to get
Yeah,
better.
copy that.
So you're just really reducing the lifespan of your practice parts if you put too much pressure on them. And I really like that now. It does force you to put a little bit of thought into what you're using as practice parts and what you want. Then Nico, you're on a great, a good. 7.5, 14, 4.6, 3.5 stays as it is, and 0.5.
Let us know your comments.
Optimal, you star piastri.
Copy that.
97. Very nice. Get some fuel in you. Get out there. Go race your little socks off. Want to go and have a nap? Enjoy your nap, King Drew. Yeah, weirdly, I think the game has almost optimized itself a bit more around the style of play I do. It's definitely something from watching Shen and Cringer, like some of the things they've had early frustrations with are totally understandable. And it's just, I'd not thought about, like, the way I play with the running people very light in practice is not how everyone plays. But it kind of very much works now.
How's the balance?
Oh, motherfucker. Get in. Get in.
Yeah, copy that.
Get in. That's bad. That's bad news, chat. You gambled the wrong way. We gambled the wrong way. 2, 4, 4, 4, 4. Fine setup. The good news is this should be a decent setup now. Yeah, it brings everything into ranges. Bad news is I bet we don't have enough laps to lock it in. But anything we get as a head start will mean we should lock it in during qualifying. Do I spot Maldonado in the Sauber? Quite possibly. Oh, he's in the pit at the moment. Basically, the AI is running a lot of its practice drivers out there. Probably get to about 3, maybe, if we're lucky. One thing you're consistently good at with games is finding where you can be flexible with strategies the AI doesn't necessarily see. Yeah, but it's the fun part for me. That's why I like my grand strategies. So we got a 3 on feedback. So qualifying for the sprint will give us full feedback. It just means he's at slight disadvantage in qualifying. But ultimately, like I say, this is a stability season. We're not trying to do anything earth-shattering here. We just want to get some research done, get through it, do all right. Still need to get in the general bracket of where we should be anyway.
Welcome, everyone.
Sprint quality 1, mediums, flying a lap. Yeah, that's all good. Go. Hope we get lucky.
2, 1, should be green.
I think it's not the greatest bit of traffic. Hello, Torty. How you doing?
Currently P1.
Yeah, you can come up if you want.
And we need to cool the PU on this inlet.
Oh, that's a bit warm.
Cover.
That is P2.
Okay, that's a good lap.
Hello. You come to say hello. Oh. Hulk is going to go out unless we send him out again. Yeah, I know, but I need to qualify. Britches after qualifying. Britches after qualifying. Yeah, I think Hulk just had traffic issues there. Not really his fault. Not close to the face. Not needed.
The green light.
Okay, cool. Everyone is out. That's perfect. This is as good a run as we're going to get.
Currently P1.
Yeah, we should get through with that time. I think we'll get through with that time. Hello. Yeah, 6th. Yeah, ultimately, if we... Again, it's the sprint, so... It is what it is.
Three, two, one.
Ooh, people aren't coming out straight away. That's a problem for us. Oh, no, no. That's all right. That's a clean run. Eighth. Do you feel like I'm holding a pair of bagpipes with this cat? A pair of bagpipes. Sick for the sprint. I'll take that.
We're back and the action.
Light rain. Not during the sprint. We are going on the mediums. And we're just going to play it straight. And we'll see where we finish. Just get the car back in one piece, please, guys. All I ask.
And here in Miami, it's time for the sprint. And it's lights out, and away we go.
We are running on DAP engines for this race. This is essentially our last old parts race. The lights didn't go out. Have they bugged that in again? They had that briefly at the beginning of the first game. You might as well push a bit. Boy. Balanced.
Pack is low.
Copy.
Balanced. All starts for everyone. Yeah. Yeah, Ricardo having problems there. Yeah, there he goes. Get ready for an engine explosion, chat. Not going to give us the chance to watch it, is it? Here you go. Right, watch this.
Oh,
No, that's us. We were fine. I know. Tummy ropes. Tummy ropes. There you go. Tummy rub. Tummy rub for kids.
Ahead of you, Hamilton. Hamilton pointing
Yeah,
in
all the
front.
box today.
Head down.
You're a very silly cat. Like, how in any way is that comfortable?
That's P10. Good job.
Yeah,
Should not be comfortable.
well done everyone.
Stop it, Park Fairway, and then it'll be a P0 reminder probably you jump out.
Okay, that's the checkered flag.
Oscar Piastri, unable to manage any points in the sprint.
Not the best result for them, but they're gonna have to take this as an opportunity to learn and move on.
It's fine, we don't care.
There's tension in the air today.
I'm not sure if we're under Parc Ferme or not. Let's test something. Yeah, it got back to the reasonable things. So according to this, once cargo is out on track during SQ1, only front one angle change is permitted. But it doesn't say anything about car parts. Is this going to give us a grid penalty? I mean, allegedly not.
Green light, green light. Currently P1.
Times are all going to be all over the place on this
You
one
are
because of
currently
that rain.
P6.
Last lap pace was good.
Okay, look after the fuel on the way in.
Copy.
I think we just take this time and see what happens. Piastri should Q2, at least. Switches. Switches. Big fan of scritches. I think they'll both get through, you know? Yeah, now with the rain up. I mean, that is slightly lower rain, but I don't think anyone got out in time to get a lap off of that. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Q2. That's a bug. Or is that, that championship position? I don't think so. Right, are we getting any dry weather? Yes. Yep. Yeah, hello. I know. I know. I know. Being ignored. Might be sprint position. Sprint qualifying position, maybe, because that is where they finished in sprint qualifying. There you go. Well done. Sit on the windowsill for a bit. You'll be comfy up there. There you go. Right. So I think we can do this on softs.
Sessions should be starting now.
I'm sure. Go out on your inters, but... not convinced that's going to give you a lot of benefits, if I'm honest. Alright, dampness is dropping. Everyone else is coming in. Max change to dry. Maybe we go now. Don should be fast enough so we don't get slowed down by him.
Your P2 currently.
Hulk a bit
Good
slow.
luck. Remember, slow in.
Hulk might not get through on that. No, actually, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. Oh, just missed out. So close.
Copy. Okay.
So close, chat. It's going to get better. Not going to clear up entirely. We're going to stay on the inters, but it is going to get slightly better.
Okay, should be green now.
Game. So that's not meant to happen. That's an interface crash. That's a restart. This is why we save. What I will do is show you what I mean about what I was saying about how you set up your very first thing. So the temptation when you do create a team is that you
Formula
want to...
One, a new season and a new...
So when you're creating a team, you obviously have the different origins, and people, I think, don't always think about the impact that your origins can have. And one of those two things that you really want to think about is your team rating, but also your driver rating. Those two things affect marketability, and marketability is a thing that is going to dictate how many sponsorship offers you have available, and also how good those sponsorship offers are. And driver marketability is not just based on driver quality, it's based on the reputation of the driver. So if we go through and just look at, say, how we would be doing on this start, so this is the Phoenix Rising start. In terms of drivers, if we look at some of our driver availables, what we want to know is the stat that it's not going to tell us, which is what is their marketability. which you'd think actually it should probably put out on this page somewhere. Now, generally speaking, if you're set on this as a guide, you can always start the game up and then have a look and create one. But established drivers have a higher level of marketability than existing drivers. So if we were doing something on this, I would probably be looking at, rather than taking a balance of 2 young drivers, even though both are potentially quite promising, I would probably really be looking at either someone like Logan Sargent or Kevin Magnussen, because they're actually quite established. And by being established drivers, they're going to come in with a higher marketability rating. So let's go with Magnussen for car 1. Probably do is, let's say we go Liam Lawson with car 1 and we go Kevin Magnussen for car 2. Drivers are the only thing that carries a marketability rating. Staff doesn't, so you'd be setting up your staff however you want to do. Go skip past team branding because it's just practice. I am Mr. Team Principal, experienced manager. And I'm going to start the game. Now, marketability really matters. We have 20 million in the bank on this save. That's nice. It's not a bad up front. In 6 days, we're going to get a sponsor negotiation. If we have a look at Kevin Magnussen's stats. Give me your stats, Kevo. Should show me somewhere here his marketability. There we go. He has a marketability of 67. Let's have a look at Liam Lawson's marketability. 61. So we've got a little bit more marketability out of Magnussen than we've got out of Lawson, and that does make a difference. If you're on the 3-star drivers, you have a lot more choice in terms of marketability. The other thing you want to watch for is you've got 6 days here until your sponsor negotiations begin. Depending on what starts you've gone with, you really want to get your marketability up pretty quickly if you want to get better sponsor deals. So actually, if you look at something like the Tour Center, it's 12 day upgrade, and it costs only 150. It gives you an extra 0.8 on your marketability. Not going to be useful for this round of sponsor negotiations, definitely going to be useful for next year. Memorabilia room takes 7 days, you're not going to get it in time, but again, that's a fair whack of marketability boost that I could do ahead of next season just by boosting these things once. Similarly, helipad, 10-day upgrade, marketability, plus 10 on top of what you've got there. Hospitality area, marketability, increase up to 80. That's a 96 grade upgrade. Boardroom, upgrade. Relatively cheap, does a race confidence game and team attractiveness, not as useful starting out. So marketability is a key thing to push early and is relatively cheap to push. So I would normally be pumping these out, you know, getting them down, getting them going. Especially Tour Center because it's so cheap. It's not the income that's benefiting you, it's the team marketability. Why does that matter? Let's skip forward our 6 days to our sponsor negotiation. And we go to our sponsor negotiation. The level of sponsors that are available here, you can tell from the ranking, is based on our marketability, combined with our driver's marketability, combined with our reputation. So if you combine all those things together, you're going to get different and better sponsorship packages overall. Now, the mistake people make in this game now versus 23 is most people are underrepresenting how much they need to ensure they have race day income. Because they see this thing here that says performance reliance moderates. They probably go, oh, actually, when I start out, I don't want to do a lot of that. Now, if I went for this main sponsor package, I'm getting a race day potential total package of 38 million. But actually what that's really meaning is if you divide that by 24 races and you knock off a chunk for the fact you're going to go for the medium option on it each time on the race things, which you'll see a bit later on one of my other saves, then actually you're going to make some good money. The real temptation is to go, you know what, I want lots of upfront money. And particularly if you're going with a start where you don't have a lot of facilities, you might do that. It's fine. You just need to remember that this means your main sponsor is not going to be giving you a lot of race day and engagement funding. And without race day and engagement funding, you're going to need to stash some of that upfront cash because actually you're going to need it for development improvements throughout the season. You're really front loading your money. So don't get greedy and think, oh, the higher the upfront, the better. If you are going to go with a strong upfront package, make sure that your optional sponsors are ones that actually are going to give you other benefit. So on this one, for example, I would now be probably biasing towards engagement, because in season 1, if you're not worried too much about the impact that the engagement events, like VIP events and all those kind of things, are going to have on your actual rate, on your driver ratings and everything else, take some high engagement stuff. And again, you'll notice the star ratings on these. This is again because it's based on what companies are prepared to work with us, based on our marketability, our team reputation, and our driver marketability. So right now for this one, I'd probably be saying actually that's a decent engagement package. I'm going to take that. I do have 5 sponsors to choose from. If I had a less marketability rating, that might be down to 4. Might only have less options on this box here to pick from. Even though I could get potentially lots, I might only get 4, I might get 5. If I'm a good team, I'd get 6. So for our first slot, we took something that's good on engagement. For this one, I'm going to scout around a bit and go, you know what, actually that Serpent one's looking pretty good, because that's one that's going to give me big race day bonuses. I'm then probably going to look for something that is reasonably balanced. So we're going to take that one. And we're going to take a lot more engagement money, and it'd be nice to get a bit more up front if we can. Yeah, we can get 3 million up front from that, but actually I think we'll go more balanced. No, we'll go race again. So if you're going with an upfront main package, try and balance that out down here, or indeed vice versa. If you're going for a race package up here because you know your car is going to be good and you can deliver on it, then you can afford to maybe do some upfronts and everything else. So it's really going to come into play a lot more in season 2, when the amount of money you're going into the start of the season with might actually influence whether you take some upfront stuff versus some non-upfront stuff. But just remember that when you're setting your team up, this is where your money is going to come from, and what you're going to decide where your kind of balance of money is going to come from. You can't microfinance your bonuses on races themselves to anywhere near the level you could before. So just get your sponsorship packages right here, because otherwise you're going to end up needing to restart, because you'll only be making, if you've got low race day income, you're only going to be making 200 grand off of a race, and that's no money at all. And then you're going to be entirely reliant on your 6-week engagement brackets, which is what's going to give you money for these things, and whatever monthly cash you're getting off the board, which almost certainly will mean that you're only ever a few part breakages or a crashed car away from having 0 cash by about week 6-7 of the season. So I just be wary of taking too much up front. Do make sure you get some good race day and some good engagement money, no matter what you're doing. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense, chat, to those of you who kind of maybe are thinking of playing this or haven't. But as we'd had to restart anyway, I figured it was a good time to just dive in and go through that. But now we will load up and go back to our qualifying. Henrik Engineering sounds like a guy in a shed. Probably like some kind of Norwegian guy in a shed. So we are on final qualifying. Let's see if it crashes this time. Hopefully not. Makes a lot of sense. Wish I'd known that before starting the game.
Green now.
In other words, 24 determines your income levels at the start of the season. Absolutely does. It determines your potential income levels at the start of the season to a much greater degree than 23 did. And yeah, One Card Larry, this is precisely why I restarted this save. Because if you remember on the initial streams, we were only making like maybe 200 grand after each race. And I was like, that's not a lot of money. So I went back and played with it a bit and looked at how the mechanics of it all works out. And that was the lesson I really took home from it, is that you really, really, really need to not get too greedy on up front. Because I think, yeah, you kind of assume that you can go big up front because you're still going to get the ability to micro the race income in the way you could before. And you just don't have that flexibility in 24. You had it in 23, you don't have it in 24.
P3. That's an excellent lap.
We won't stay in P3. So you can go for big up front. I mean, like,
Okay, yeah.
I'd say there's an argument that if you're doing the start where you start with a really good car, you know, and bad marketability in drivers, because it's the one where you go, like, you know, in the Brawn style start, you might even actually want to take a big bias towards up front, because you can very rapidly increase your facilities that way, and you know you can almost rely for that entire season on your good car to get you through without having to really do much early dev. You maybe only dev 1 or 2 rounds of parts, and then you just don't dev anything until you hit the research opening, and then you just do good bits of research. So I think what they've not really explained well is that your starting package, you have to think your sponsorship package around the type of start you have and what facilities you started with in a way that you didn't have to think about in 23. And I think that is a thing that they should really have a bit more help about, because it is a bit of a learning curve on it. We are second row, which is not bad. Yeah, we can do that. It's a stretch, but we can do it. I mean, I think we do the same thing. I'll move that back a bit. Same. Kind of blundered into a moderate race day income, but could have done with being able to make a more informed decision. And I think that's it, is I don't think for your very first save, you're likely to understand enough to make an informed decision about your sponsorship packages. So it might even be that the game kind of needs a recommendation mode. It does make Season 2 much more interesting, because you're not just sitting there these days now going with that initial 23 screen where you're just like, yeah, change this, add some race days, add some merch, whatever. You are genuinely sitting there, like, at the end of this season, we're going to have to make a bit of a judgment call on where we think our car is likely to be. Because we're going to want to go, like, actually, do we think we have a good car here? Because if we have a good car, and we're not that worried about upfront money, we could do a lot of focus on race benefits, on race income, which would lead us to good income. Maybe the first time manager option does that. Quite possibly. I think the main problem with that is what it's not really saying is, if you've been playing F1 23, you're never picking the first time manager option. Right, we want to drop 1 lap. And we push on the starts, I think. Push slightly, and we'll push on fuel. What we have learned is you can change your engine out mid, between sprint and other, and you'll be fine. Save that.
Welcome back, everyone. And this is it, the Miami Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Come on, gang. Piastri, you can do this. Kinda hope for a top 7 here, maybe. We are on a fresh engine, but we'll see. We are still on Gen 1 parts. That's not going to help us. I don't want to run him on that too long. I just want to keep him in touch with Piastri until we get in touch with Norris until we get the RS. Ah, we drifted out. Right, come off of that. Let's balance the tyres and preserve them. It's always a bit of a gamble. Hulk's gonna have DRS though. Right, now we can drop Hulk down. Let's push you back to balanced. Again, we're not really pushing that hard on these. We're aiming for top 10
Pack
finishes.
is low.
Copy.
I might push to do well at Monaco. I'd like a podium at Monaco. And I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility with my car.
Crash ahead, crash ahead, crash ahead.
Crash ahead, who crashed?
Caution.
And yep, it's the Haas
good old
that's
cool
affected
deal.
there. Now the action happens as they went into turn 16. And
Yeah,
that's
the end
the
just got
moment
away
the
from
car
him there.
plows.
Shuffle going on back here. Vershaw, if you could slam past into signs, I'd be grateful. Russell is gaining. I assume everyone else is on mediums. And Norris is on hards. Jesus. Norris, good work. Got some intervals developing here. You can see Hulk's struggling a bit now with the car the way it is.
We're ready in pit lane.
Copy.
Neil's got a mechanical fault.
And as far as we can tell,
what happens when you
they've
fling
got a
cars
fault
into
with
walls.
the car.
Overtaking is very, very difficult.
Fine.
Keep going.
It's fine. You're okay, Piastri.
We are ready for you.
Don't worry about
Here's
it,
the
mate.
replay.
You're doing okay.
So let's follow the action.
Track is this
going
Miami.
into
Yeah,
turn
we're at Miami
12.
at the moment.
There's the opening. And Oscar Piastri climbs higher.
Can you come? Get on your mediums. A bit of a push.
Box.
Box.
Tsunoda got a pit stop issue. That's good news for us. He was right on Piastri's ass. Hulk, you meant to tell me when you need to pit? Give me some clues, man. This is why we have race day communications, Hulkenberg. Use your words, Hulk. Use your words. I think we're going to be okay on fuel. Really do with Hulk. You remember what target we had for him? Was it 14th? I think it was 14th. Oh, PT on windowsill. I think we went for the lower one for him. I think we went 14th. Yes, you're dropping back a bit now, that's fine. We only need him in the top 10. Like, we are still on Gen 1 parts. Ah, cool deal.
Now with the Haas.
Never
Oh,
change,
a fairly
Amory.
substantial crash there. And
Never
that won't do the car any good at all.
How we're looking. We're on curve. Dap a mechanical fault. Means he's going to have to ease off a bit. I mean, this is very much first season, let's just get through it territory. And we can actually run Hulk slightly longer. I'm going to run Piastri 1 lap long as
And
well.
yep, it's the Haas that's affected there.
Check for any debris.
A Maori.
Here we are then at turn 15.
You're just trying to like hit every corner of this race.
And ends up in the wall.
Right, now we'll pit him. Out some softs. Hulk, you can do another lap. Out some softs. Negative driver confidence. I mean, that is part of it, is once they crash, they keep crashing. The good news is a whole bunch of people are on mediums here. They're doing mediums for their last stretch, and we're going on to softs. So, hopefully, we pick up some positions back up here. Like, Hulk's out in 14th. He's not going to close that gap, I wouldn't have thought. Unless Ricciardo needs to pit again. What I'm worried about slightly is... Oh, you
Full
fuckers.
safety car.
Recharge on.
Delta positive.
Copy.
Damn you,
Work
game.
front left where you can.
No point pink. I mean, we're not bad on tyres. Just means that everyone and their fucking mother is going to pit for fresh softs. Oh, of course it was. Just sat there moping on the track. He's not had a good day. He's going to need a hug, chat. He's going to need a hug.
Energy's good.
Copy.
Hammermaker Verstappen's on a serious mechanical fault now. Yeah, everyone came in, although we are on better softs than some of the people around us. Could be worse.
Pack is high.
Copy.
Could be worse.
Safety car in this lap.
You'll need to use overtake to get full deploy.
Yep.
Hold position, lads. And that curves back down to
Big shunt.
big shunt.
Watch for debris.
You shunted.
Get these rears cool.
Can't be
Now
Cordelia,
we're
he's already out.
watching Esteban Ocon here.
Ocon!
Tries to get by,
How you doing, old buddy?
and you can see how the cars come together. A bitter blow too for...
How you doing, Ocon?
Pack is
Just
low.
slamming into other drivers.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're going to be alright. We'll let the tyre temps come down because we'll push them the last 2 laps. A confrontation. Yeah. Lap 56. 48% on tyres. And you're on yellows. Final lap. You know what, go for it. Go a bit aggressive. Enjoy yourself. Gearbox is fucked. Gearbox is fucked, but you know, we got another race out of them. Who needs gears, chat? Gears are for other people.
You've taken the
Sixth.
checkered flag.
Hulk should come
P6
home
for
in
you.
12th. Perfect.
Good job of them.
Not the easiest of weekends, but
Oh, you're fine. No, like, look, Oscar, you're fine. That was a good result.
That's Oscar Piastri, after what was a very exciting
Consistent.
Grand Prix.
I'm happy with that. You're good. Don't
Yeah,
chill,
and in
Oscar.
the end, it was a finish in P6, which will bring in a few points.
And with that, the Sainz name remains engraved in F1 history.
Absolutely fine result. Don't worry about it, Oscar. That's where we want to be. 5th. Think our expectation is 6th. We'll check in a second, but 5th I'd be happy with. Consistency is what the sponsors want. And here we see the outcome of that. So basically we got our 9th or higher there and our 13th or higher there. So we went with 1 medium, 1 low. And actually that meant we got 885 grand. So you just need to make sure you set some good, plentiful race bonuses so that you can afford to be a bit flexible in how you balance these out. So I will often, certainly on a starting season, will run with someone on the medium expectation and someone on the low expectation. Because what you're trying to do there is just guarantee that barring race accidents, you are at least making some money. And I think that makes a huge difference. So this is why you just want to get that balance right between upfront and race. And you need to just remember that you don't have the ability to micro it as much as you used to. I think. Oh no! Don't shut down the wind tunnel for 10 days. Game why you do this. That's really annoying. Because they're going to finish before then, and we won't be able to start anything. Not the end of the world. Yeah, shut down the wind tunnel. How are we looking on these? 446. That is our production rear wing. Side pods done in a day. 1 day, 1 day, 3 days. Cool. Side pods. What that means is we can now do rear wing 3 days. Would have that in time for the race? Yes. Give me 4 of them because we're going to need them anyway. Does leave us enough money to side pods. Only 1 of them for now. Just because we are quite low on cash and we've got research to do. No, we are close to sponsor plan delivering. So this is the final element of how that engagement element runs out. So you can see that essentially I've made my 6-week money of 1.16 million, and I've made that by hitting my target, and I've overflown, which means I get some money, some balance into the next one as well. We then made some money off of our mandatory activities because we went with some engagements on this save. Got some manufacturing. And now actually, if we have a look here, we're now into our sponsor plan. And again, you can see we've got a head start in our engagement. This is our maximum engagement that we can still make. And we've got this amount that we can make. And we're going to put in some things. I'm going to put some stuff in for Hulkenberg as our driver because he's our secondary. Less worried about him getting results than Piastri. I'm going to look around a bit and go, what is the stuff that not going to screw me too much? Wind tunnel, advert, design center. I'm kind of wanting to stay away from stuff that is going to affect my car design, because I'm really pushing on research this season. So realistically, I probably want pit crew fatigue, and factory tour isn't that bad because we just manufactured a lot of parts. I like that you can have this level of granularity now, but you just need to think about it a bit more. Like, what are you looking to achieve in this period? Are you looking to boost things? Are you looking to research or anything else? What that does mean now is essentially I'm now going to get a nice engagement payout of a good wedge of cash once you combine it with the mandatories. So that's nice. I could do one more. We do need the money in this save. So I think maybe we do take the hit and send him out. Fine, we'll go with that. And that's a sponsor plan confirmed for the next 6 months in this Lotus save. 6 weeks, sorry, in this Lotus save. Does mean we now have money, which is useful because actually we're doing some dev here, and once our wind tunnel fixes in this save, we'll be fine. So overall, I really like how they've changed the way money works. You have a lot more bias though to you thinking up front before your season starts how your season is going to go and how you expect your season to go and how you want to plan your season. Do you want to do a lot of upfront investment? If so, you are going to have significantly reduced income potentially for doing lots of versions of parts and things during the season. Do you know you're going to have a really good car, or suspect you're going to have a really good car? Well, then actually you probably can afford to put a lot of emphasis on race bonuses if you don't need to do a lot of facilities up front. So you just need to think between seasons and at the start of your game a lot more about how you expect your next season to go and adapt your strategy to what you expect to invest in, what level of marketability your drivers have and everything else. And I cannot emphasize enough in season 1, push heavily on increasing the things that deliver good marketability very quickly. And also when you're looking at scouting drivers and hiring drivers, think carefully about who you bring into that second seat or whether you put in 2 new drivers, because they are going to have low marketability rates. Whereas if, for example, you actually go, you know what, I'm going to put Alonso into a seat. You know, you might normally think, well, okay, he's still got stats, but they're going to drop off very quickly. But he does have a marketability rate of 83, which is really, really going to help you out. And it's something to consider when you think about how much you're paying him. It's also going to unlock how much money you can make off of sponsors. It's also why Sainz and Perez actually have quite a lot of value to you as drivers early on in the game. I've not got Perez scouted in the save. He has a relatively similar marketability rate to Sainz here, and so they're actually quite useful. Piastri also has a relatively decent marketability rate for a young driver, so if you're doing a 3-star start, he is actually quite useful to pick. But that's ultimately my kind of quick run through on think more at the beginning of the season about how you expect the season to go, particularly in a custom save, or well, a non-custom save as well, but just on how you expect the team to perform and build your sponsorship packages around that, and do not neglect your race income. So I doubt they haven't programmed the game, but it'd be really cool if you could make marketability for, say, the first female F1 driver. Yeah, I think if they keep making these, I think marketability is going to be one of the really interesting stats they're going to be able to do a lot of flex with. Because you could have things like, okay, if you're going to make your driver go out and do your sponsor events, your adverts, it might give them points in marketability. You know, so you could have a young driver that you actually really push into doing adverts and everything else. You help them build their personal brand. And actually in doing so, what you're doing is making them more marketable. So I think there is a lot of potential there in what they're doing with it. I think it also does make older drivers a lot more valuable than they were, because they are established and bring with them a marketability rating that actually really genuinely impacts what you're getting. So yeah, I think it's a good system, but it's very different. It's probably the bit of the game that's the biggest difference from F1 Manager 23, I think. And because it's so different, I think if you're an experienced F1 Manager player from the last two versions, it's almost impossible not to get caught out when you start the game, because you think that you're going to have much more flexibility on race income than you actually do. So it's just something to be aware of. But yeah, so we got 2 more races in. What are we doing? We got Imola in 5 days. When is our wind center fixed? That is approved. Is it fixed now? No. Fix now? No. Fix now? Yes. Research. Kinda want to get a rear wing in. Let's kick off with a rear wing. And we'll balance it. And then it doesn't matter hugely which of these we start on. Go chassis. Our parts, manufacture, we do have a spare slot. That's the 2s, that's the 3s, and we've got 2 in the store. 2 in the store of them. 2 of them. Side pods, I think we're manufacturing. We get one of them in 1 day, them in 2 days. Oh, we're just going to miss out on that, aren't we? That's sad. They've added a balance stat basically that rewards different types of games. Yeah, or as much as anything else means that, yeah, you need to set your sponsor packages around the style of team you're running in a way that, and the style of team you currently have in a way that you didn't before. Before you just kind of like default clicked. You almost went, do I need lots of money or do I need not a lot of money? And that was the decision. So you'd be like, right, I'm going to untick a lot of the events my drivers have to do because I don't need the money and I don't want the negative percentages. Whereas now it's like, no, you really need to think about the kind of team you are and therefore what type of financing you can essentially support, which is really, really nice. I really like that as a model. We might run on old parts again for this race, you know. What's the calendar looking like? Monaco feels like a fresh parts race. We want our podium in Monaco.